Black market, a clandestine market or series of transactions that have some aspect of illegality or is characterized by non-compliance with an institutional set of rules. Well, I have no idea what clandestine means, but I can tell you a whole lot about the Skyblock black market, or as you may know it, IRL trading. If you've been around the community for a while, you've certainly heard of and are familiar with the fact that IRL trading, the practice of trading Skyblock coins for real-world money, is very much against the rules of Hypixel. I'm sure this confuses a lot of people, as Hypixel technically has its own way of buying coins with money, and I'll get to that. But the focus of this video is all about the shady black market, its consequences, and what is or isn't being done to combat it. Let's start with the basics. How does this whole operation even work? I mean, surely you can't just Google search buy Hypixel Skyblock coins and be greeted with a bunch of websites and Discord servers that let you do exactly that really easily, right? This isn't exactly a secret underground operation or anything, but rather a huge public network of these trading places, competing to provide the cheapest and most trustworthy coins trades and even proudly bragging about it whenever they can. It's really hard to go to a full Skyblock lobby without seeing some bots pop in and out advertising these coins trades, and it seemingly never ends. If you try to go through the process of buying coins, assuming you're not buying from a scammer, which there are so many, you'll actually find that it's a relatively simple process. You just send the money through cryptocurrency or PayPal and get sent instructions on how to actually collect these coins. Sometimes this is as simple as literally just visiting someone and having them trade it to you. Some other times, there are some more complicated methods, which I cannot share in this video, as that would be teaching you how to safely IRL trade. What I can tell you is that behind this relatively streamlined customer experience is a significantly less streamlined operation involving what is likely a multi-million-dollar operation, quite a few serious real-life world crimes, and a blatant disregard for virtual economics. If you've watched our last video about the dodgy underworld of Skyblock, you'll know about the huge account stealing operations going on around Skyblock. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you watch it first before watching the rest of this video, as it lays a lot of groundwork that I won't really repeat in this video. If it isn't already clear, these people are not stealing accounts for the sake of getting Skyblock items. They aren't going through all of this effort just to afford a Hyperion or whatever. They're doing it because the items they steal very much have a real-world value, and this is where the issues with IRL trading comes in. If players were only trading legitimately sourced items amongst each other, there wouldn't be as many issues, but it is needless to say that the groups of people selling upwards of 5 billion coins per day are not getting those coins from mining gemstones or whatever people do these days. When these accounts get stolen, their items are sold on the auction house for coins, which are then either moved somewhere else or transferred to coin buyers directly from that account. The stolen accounts themselves also hold a lot of value to the traders. According to a trader we interviewed, accounts with a higher skill average and other high stats are used to transfer coins, as they are not subject to the same level of boosting checks that newer accounts' trades are. I can't really verify this fact, but I do have to take his word because I am not going to test it. Just one account with a billion coins can be traded at 10 cents per million for a total of $100 earned in maybe an hour or two of work. Sure, it involves the relatively serious crime of computer hacking, but it seems like the FBI are too busy tracking down a cat who stole the no-fly list to care about a couple people messing around in Minecraft. I do just quickly want to note that I am absolutely not recommending you do this. It is very illegal. You absolutely can get a permanent criminal record for account hacking, and whatever you do will eventually catch up to you. The point I'm trying to make here is that IRL trading is the root cause of all the account theft that has been happening recently. If it weren't for this extremely profitable black market, there would be nowhere near as many people trying everything they can to take your accounts. However, even if you are the safest person ever, this still likely affects you. There are more easy ways to earn illegitimate coins that can be sold, some even faster than account hacking. If you've been around on the channel for a while, you already know where I am going with this. Duping. Much like IRL trading, the duping community is hardly a secret. Often, you'll hear about large dupes happening, either through word spreading fast through game, or YouTubers who are desperate for content and will listen to anyone who has a story to tell them. The people who go through all the effort to do this usually don't do it out of some deep-rooted hatred to the game or for fun, but for money. If we look at the biggest gemstone dupe in history, worth a confirmed total of 1.5 trillion coins, we can apply the price of coins at the time, around 20 cents per million, and calculate that the entire operation would trade for $300,000. Obviously, this did not work. The admins caught on very quickly and cracked down on it. But if this went undetected, then there would be some very rich players. Duping is not without consequence to the health of the game. Every item introduced to the economy reduces its price as per the laws of supply and demand, and as a result, this basically trashes the market of the game and the many money-making methods used by the players on a daily basis. It also trashes the progression system, when strong items become very easy to obtain due to how cheap their materials are. When the gemstone dupe occurred, the admins did their very best to clean up the mess, track down every single gemstone, and mass ban players. But despite all their efforts, the price of perfect gemstones took 2 to 3 months to recover to their pre-dupe prices, and Inferno Vertexes never even recovered their value and are still creeping up in price to this day. Every dupe of any size leaves this permanent scar on the game, and rarely are they cleaned up at all. The duping business alone is a lot more involved than you would expect too. It goes beyond individuals or groups finding a duplication glitch, and is itself its own little business. When we interviewed a former IRL trader who claims to have earned over $100,000 in the business, it was common that individuals would sell duplication glitches they found to groups of people for sometimes upwards of $1,000 just for the steps to produce the glitch. It apparently also became common for competing groups to try and find out their competition's dupes by any means possible, giving them access to a free money printer. This is also likely a reason the alpha server initially wasn't all that successful. Instead of reporting game-breaking bots to the developers, they would just keep them for themselves and their friends, or sell them on to people. This problem has only gotten worse as of late, as admins can no longer give out items to players. This means game breakers are very rarely given out, and there is often no rewards or incentive for actually reporting these bugs. Why would a player report a glitch to developers and receive nothing for it when they can receive a fat paycheck giving it to someone else? I'm fully aware that putting this information in a video will popularize this trade, but I think someone has to bring it to attention or it's never going to get fixed. I intended to contact the admins about this and potentially interview them to hear their thoughts on everything I've described so far. I reached out to someone who could get me in contact with the right person to ask, and was met with a reply that the Hypixel company has a policy that forbids their employees from giving interviews to anyone. In their defense, I was offered the opportunity to pass on any information I had to an admin, but this doesn't help as I cannot hear their thoughts or discuss anything. A similar situation occurred when we made our video about the hacking community, except we were actually put in contact with an admin who unfortunately did not discuss anything with us and essentially ignored our suggestions we handed over to them. As previously mentioned, IRL trading encourages people to duplicate items and hack accounts in order to exchange them for real-life money. But what about the operation of an IRL trading group themselves? As you'd probably expect, managing the sale of billions of coins is not easily done by 1 or 2 people. More often than not, the sellers of the coins are not usually the people who go out of their way to obtain them. Instead, the sellers usually buy in bulk at a discount through private channels such as Telegram chats or quiet Discord servers, and then resell these onto their own customers at a slight markup. This is because the sheer amount of coins can be way too hard to sell to individual customers who may only buy small amounts. and it's just easier to distribute the sales this way. The method of the coins being obtained is also somewhat important to potential buyers. Coins obtained by duping can be harder to hide or launder than those from hacked accounts, which are considered safer and more valuable, as trades from high skill average accounts are allegedly not subject to the same checks as newer accounts. The trader we spoke to said that the source of the coins doesn't matter much and that it's more about the method of distribution, but I thought it was still worth mentioning. Once the coins are in the trader's hands, they need to be safely distributed. This can't be done by just trading them all from one account, because obviously that's going to set alarms off, and in some cases may even trigger the daily trade limit. Instead, the traders have to get creative. If the coins are received through hacked accounts, it's usually safe enough to trade the coins directly from the hacked account to a buyer, assuming a small number of buyers, because this will not trigger any sort of detection systems. Otherwise, there are a few transfer methods that are used. Sometimes, the sellers will partner with services that sell Minecraft accounts and sell accounts with coins on them as a relatively low-risk method of distribution, albeit costly and time-consuming. As for other methods, I can't really share here because I'm not here to teach you how to IRL trade, and this is the information I was able to pass on to the admins. It's not as dark or complicated of an operation as the malware community, but they are all very much linked with each other and enable one another. Without the IRL traders, duping and hacking communities would not exist. It wouldn't be a video on this channel if we didn't discuss real-world impacts. When dealing with payments, it's common for traders to prefer to use PayPal because it's quick and easy to use, and using cryptocurrency can be a bit of a hassle and unstable at the best of times. It's also just a lot more common for buyers to be using PayPal, and exchanges from cryptocurrencies to money tend to involve a cut being taken. However, PayPal is very strict with who actually uses their services and what for. When hundreds or thousands of dollars are traded through their service, they tend to look into what the account is being used for, and usually realize it's nothing good and lock or delete the account, especially if all transactions are being done through friends and family transfers used to avoid paying a small cut to PayPal. If you've never made a PayPal account before, you need to provide information about yourself, and usually a bank account or ID to verify that you are a real human in order to receive the money you receive. This is especially needed to create a business account, which is required to hide your personal information and withdraw past the usual limit PayPal accounts have. The thing about ID and bank accounts is that everybody only has one, and if that one account gets disabled, you can probably guess where this is going. If traders have someone they can trust, they can pay a holder to basically just use their PayPal account for holding money for them. But if they don't, they can turn to real-life black markets. It's apparently surprisingly easy to just buy either fake or stolen IDs that comes pre-made with a PayPal account and everything someone needs. The guy we interviewed even showed us his, which I've blurred for obvious reasons. I hope whoever this guy is never needs a PayPal account and that his ID isn't being used for anything else. Aside from funding identity theft, there are some other consequences of the trade. Specifically in what we would consider third world countries, it is not hard to find news stories about people who genuinely have to make a living out of the IRL trade of various MMORPGs, not necessarily Skyblock. According to various news articles, some Venezuelan full-time grinders in various MMORPGs can earn between $10 to $20 per day, in a country where earning $2 is a regular occurrence. I'm sure this says a lot more about the real world and the US intervention than anything else, but I thought it were a little story worth including. As just mentioned, this isn't just a Skyblock problem. Every game with an online economy has to deal with IRL traders to varying degrees of success. Usually, it isn't much of a problem in other games that aren't based on Minecraft, as their developers have better control over their code bases and basically never have to worry about duplication glitches. But the issue of account hacking for money remains a problem in any online game. One of the worst examples I've seen is Roblox, where the IRL trading black market has become so common and so well known, largely due to Roblox's terribly predatory monetization system, that it is normal and easy to just buy Robux, as the game features many ways to transfer Robux between accounts or groups, and the traders never have to worry about whether the robots are from easily traceable dupes, because dupes do not exist in Roblox. Unfortunately, this also creates a few legal loopholes. Take this robot selling site for instance. It proudly advertises its partnership with another site, a robots casino, where anyone can gamble with robots. Going onto the site, it looks a lot like cryptocurrency gambling sites that were popular on Twitch a few months ago, and they are just as easy to access for anyone too. There are no ID checks, and players log into the websites directly with their Roblox account. The casino doesn't even have an account system. This is perfectly legal, as within the site's terms, it states that the currency the site uses is just called robots and has no real-world value, which is true. Its only value is that of being converted to actual robots, and because this site only calls its virtual tokens robots, it's not real money. This site regularly advertises its partnership with other websites, and tells its players in the public chat that they should buy robots to play or sell robots on the first site I talked about. Roblox is a game for kids, so essentially, these two websites enable children to gamble completely unregulated and cash out without any parental supervision, and this is completely still in legal boundaries, enabled entirely by the corporation of the IRL trading website. I could talk about the awful monetization practices of Roblox for a long time, but that's maybe a topic for another video. To my knowledge, there isn't something like this around in Skyblock, but I could be wrong about that, and I wouldn't be hugely surprised if it did exist. So far, I've made my point extremely clear. IRL trading is the root and enabler of every other major player-caused issue in Skyblock. I must have said this at least 4 times in the video, but I haven't provided much in the way of solutions. That's because there honestly aren't that many, other than improving the detection systems and maybe launching manual investigations into flagged accounts that could result in the banning of both buyers, sellers, and suppliers. Maybe Hypixel are doing this, but they keep their methods secret as not to tell people exactly how to avoid them. If targeting buyers and sellers is not a possibility, then they will have to make a greater effort to cut off the supply, a battle that they are constantly losing. This means trying to stop account stealing and duping. The best attempts at solving duping problems are increasingly invasive. This is necessary to an extent, but introductions like daily limits on bazaar sales, sticky menus, and delays between doing things when joining lobbies all impact the daily player experience. I think the best way to help prevent dupes would be to actually incentivize people to report them. Stopping the gifting of game breakers was genuinely one of the worst decisions made. It will be hard to gift a player anything comparable to a large sum of money, but literally anything is better than a copy-pasted thank you message, maybe some gems. As for account hacking, well, we presented a bunch of solutions to that to both viewers and admins when we made our video about that. As of today, exactly none of it has been acted upon, which we kinda expected because we aren't developers. But relying entirely on Mojang and Microsoft's 2FA has proven not enough, as a lot of players still do not associate Microsoft with Minecraft, and will readily give away Microsoft 2FA codes if convinced they are something else, by some new account stealing methods I've seen around. As nice it is to assume people are smart enough to know, it is unfortunately not the case. According to the person we interviewed, a vast majority of traded coins in circulation are sourced from compromised accounts, with such a huge influx that the price of coins has actually dropped a lot in recent months. To conclude, if there was a way to completely stop IRL trading, the issues of account hacking and duping would be hugely negated, as there wouldn't be much of a reason to do them. If IRL trading can't be solved, then it's likely that the benefactors of IRL trading will not be stopped either, at least not easily. Either way, the black market of Skyblock is a fairly interesting place, and I don't know if the developers will ever gain control over it and stamp it out. At least it makes for good content. See ya, and have a nice day.